I get asked this question every now and then. Who is the fulfilled woman? I like to answer this question by making reference to the Proverbs 31 woman in the Bible. The Proverbs 31 woman in the book of Proverbs 31, 13 to 18. And I often say the Proverbs 31 woman was a woman at midlife. And I get asked, how do you know she was a woman at midlife? The Bible says, beginning from verse 13, says, she willingly walks with her hands, rising up while it was still dark, and her lamp does not go out at night. Meaning that she stayed up all night to work. If she was nursing little children, she wouldn't definitely be staying up all night to work. She would be busy breastfeeding her baby. And then again, the Bible says that her husband takes his seat amongst the elders in the land, meaning that he was an elder himself. So she was a woman at midlife because her husband was an elder. Verse 28 says, her children rise and call her blessed. To use the word blessed suggests that her children were grown up. Babies would not have blessed in their vocabulary. Verse 30 says, refers to the fact that beauty is passing, suggesting that she may have been past her prime. So she was not just being praised for her beauty, she was praised for being a woman of value, a woman of substance, and a woman of God. And then verse 25 says, she shall rejoice in the time to come. In the time to come, in the next season of life. And after midlife is what? The old age season. So which means because she maximized the midlife season, she shall rejoice in the next season of her life. So the Proverbs 31 woman is our example of a fulfilled woman. Look at her life. She was a manufacturer. She was a real estate person. She produced with her hands. She was a woman of compassion. She was busy. She was not idle. She was not given to idleness. The Bible says that she looked up to the affairs of her own household. She showed compassion to the poor. So a fulfilled woman is that woman at midlife. Looking at the example of the Proverbs 31 woman and answering the question, who's a fulfilled woman? So the fulfilled woman is that woman who is, has identified, that woman who is in the second half of her life, because she has identified her God-given assignment and is working to actualize it. She has identified her calling in life and she's on her journey. She's not perfect, but she's working towards perfection. She's in pursuit of purpose. She feels a great need to maximize her potentials in the second part of life. She's not given to idleness. She's intentional. She's deliberate. She's a VIP. What do I mean by VIP? She's a very intentional and deliberate person. She has accepted responsibility for her life, and she's running with the vision that God has given to her. She strives to attain balance in every area of her life. She knows that her relationship with God is at the center of her being, so she doesn't joke with it. She knows that her relationships with her family members are also important. She knows that her finances needs to be in order. So she's working hard. She's not given to slothfulness. She's not given to idleness. The Proverbs 31 woman wasn't idle. She was working day and night. The fulfilled woman also is the one she's a dutiful wife. She's a dutiful mother. She's a dutiful sister. She's a dutiful daughter. Whatever season of life she's in, she's dutiful. She's intentional and adding value. She's compassionate. She's generous. She's a giver to the less privileged. And she's succeeding in a defined sphere of influence. As a woman, whether in government, whether in media, whether in politics, whether in family, whether in economics, whether in entertainment, she has identified a given sphere of influence. One or more, but at least a given particular sphere of influence. And she's actualizing her purpose in that sphere of influence. A fulfilled woman is an all-rounder. She's well-balanced. She knows how to divide her time. She knows what the Bible says about there's a time for everything. So she knows how to apportion her time. She takes every role seriously, whether she's a wife. Look at the Proverbs 31 woman. My goodness, they said her children rise up and they call her blessed. Her husband's name is known at the gates. She takes care of her whole household, her servants. She's compassionate even to the poor. So the fulfilled woman is an all-rounder. And as I say, she's not perfect, but she's working, progressing towards perfection. So she's godly. She's a woman of God. Her relationship with God is at the center of her core. She's a daughter. She's an entrepreneur. She's a mistress to her maids. She's a servant of God. She's a philanthropist. She's a giver. Every role is perfect, and she's a lifelong learner. She's adorned with strength and honor. She understands that she's in a critical season of her life, so she doesn't have time for idleness. She doesn't have time to play small. She's recognized that greatness lies on the inside of her, so she's not given to mediocrity. No, the fulfilled woman is not given to mediocrity. She understands that she's on this earth to add value. So she takes herself very seriously. She takes her roles very seriously. She has identified her call, and she's rising to fulfill that purpose. Now that's why I'm so excited, really excited, to talk about the launch of the Fulfilled Woman Academy. What exactly is the Fulfilled Woman Academy? It's a coaching and mentoring academy to help women rise up and get into their place of greatness. It's a coaching and mentoring women to help women navigate the challenges of life. You know, in every season of life, I say as women, our lives are in seasons and in transitions. And each particular season has its own challenges. Whether you are a young mother, whether you are a single mother, whether you are married with children, whether you are in midlife, all those are transitions and seasons that we go through. And each one has its own truths of its own challenges. So the Fulfilled Woman Academy is helping women navigate successfully those challenges so that they can get into a place of fulfillment, joy, satisfaction, and abundance, the life that God ordained for it. A coaching and mentoring academy for women to help women find their purpose, get established in a defined sphere of influence, and rise to the place of their greatness.